helpful though.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And I will ask Elam to hello. Sorry about the delay there. I was sitting in traffic. Were you able to solve the 2 modules within the 3-minute 45-second cap? Let me know. And you got 100% on both, you said? Okay, good deal. Practice that. Let me pull that up here. Yeah, he's got to be stuck in that because I don't know what it's saying now as far as traffic goes. I mean, it was like blood red when I was looking at it earlier. Let's see if he message or anything. Yeah, so it's like that's where the power line is down, and it just happened. So this is where I live over here, and I was like, I got here without moving and realized I'm like, I have to go the back way. So anyway, I don't know, depending on where he's coming from, maybe not. We'll see. Had to redo them a couple times to get 100%. Okay. How was the timing? Percent accuracy on the first round. Okay. So as I mentioned today, I am going to sit down in a second. We're going to work on the harder part. Okay, we're going to work on the harder types of questions. The goal to get the 100% was so that you have enough time to answer these questions. So let's take a look here. All right, I just want to get a blank piece of paper up here, and then I'm going to open up practice test 6 on there. Okay. Oh yes, okay, you've got yours. Now I'm going to open up practice test 6 on the online, which is going to be a little bit different than that one because we've worked through most of this, I think. But I want to make sure that we have enough material to work on. So, and since you guys already did 1 through 10 on 6 online, we're just going to continue right on there. Okay, 92%, that's good. And obviously, the higher the percentage that you get, the better prognosis for the latter half of the test. So you do want to aim for about 100% if you can on the first part so that you can allocate some more time, and it will compensate for the harder types of questions. But that's good, 92% is good. Okay, let's get in here. We are going to go through practice test 6. We're going to start on module 2 in math. Yeah, you certainly can. You change these things all the time, so it could be. Okay, actually, you know, since you guys did the first module 1 through 10, let's go ahead and we'll just start at 11. Okay, on module 1 in math, practice test number 6. We'll start with question number 11. Yeah, I'm kind of a pain in the tush. Do you want a piece of paper?
No.
A clipboard? Okay. All right. So for questions like this, okay, where you have an equation, you can just go through and solve it algebraically. But I don't necessarily think that that's the fastest way to do this. Unless you are like super solid with your mental math, and you may be, then do it in mental math. But I would still recommend that you check it. Okay, so the way that I would recommend solving this is to type this in exactly as it's shown, 4 square root of 2x equals 16. You're going to see one line Okay, and that's because you're solving for x, or the Desmos is solving for x. So that's why there's one vertical line here. You're going to see that the answer is 8. Okay, x equals 8. That means that 6x is going to be 6 times 8, which is 48. Okay, you may be able to do that in your head. I would still recommend checking it. People make such stupid mistakes. It's just not worth the mistake. Okay, easy enough. When we're going here, so remember, this is the latter part of the beginning section, but the start of the middle section. So they kind of overlap a little bit, but the difficulty is now leveled up from the very beginning. These will take a little bit longer than just the initial 10 seconds that I said on the first few. Okay, 15 seconds. So the relationship between two variables, x and y, is linear. Okay, for every increase in the value of x by 1, the value of y increases by 8. When the value of x is 2, the value of y is 18. Which equation represents this relationship? This one is a little bit going to require some math, I think. That's what I'm thinking. It's got to be C. 2, 18, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when it says for every increase, that is talking about slope, by the way. Okay. So just be aware of that. That's the only one that has the 8 in front of the x. But it also gives you another clue to say that when x is 2, y is 18. That's helpful because then you can just plug that in and see. The other ones you don't get 18 for. Gotta be C. Okay. This one here, how many distinct real solutions does the given equation have? Okay, you may know this already. Okay, can you have the square root of a negative number? No. So it's going to be 0. But let's just say you didn't know that. If you do x squared equals negative 841, you're not going to find any solutions. Okay, but a lot of students will get to this point and then panic with the fact that they don't see a graph. They're like, oh, shoot. And they're not thinking about the implication of this. Okay, if you type it in here in the scientific one, you're going to get an error. And I'm just going to show you what that looks like so you're aware. This is going to be x squared. Oh, maybe you cannot do that here. Yes, you can. Equals negative 841. Okay, it's right here. This calculator does not support this type of equation because you would get an I, okay, imaginary number, which means that it doesn't have a distinct real solution. Okay, that in fact it has 2 imaginary, but 0 distinct real. Okay, here's a box plot. So box plots, you guys probably did these in elementary school, middle school, long time ago. Would not be anything that you've done recently. So we have to remember, okay, what is the positive difference between the ranges of numbers of books read over the summer for the 2 classes? Okay. Range, if you remember, is just top minus bottom. So this is not super hard, but we do have to think about it, okay? So what is the range for class A? 5. And then for class B is 9. So 9 minus 5 is 4. Okay, that one's not super hard. Now, when I was mentioning go ahead and flag these, the only reason I say that is because it's likely going to take you longer than 15 seconds to solve. And you don't want to end up where you're wasting time. Okay, some of these are easy enough. Okay, the length of the edge of the base of a right square prism. That's a lot of words. I'm trying, okay. Length of the edge of a base of a right square prism, okay, is 6 units. The volume of the prism is 2880. What is the height in units of the prism?
So 6 squared to get the area of the base.
Right.
And then we just have to divide 2800.
Good.
36.
Okay, so we're going to, since it's a square, 6 times 6 is 36. That's going to be the Area of the base, very good. The volume is just the area of the base times the height. So we have 36 times h equals 2880, which means in order to solve that, we just divide the two. Okay, so it's 80. Easy enough. All right, this one here. This one is a good one to do. This one requires no math. Which of the following is closest to the value of b? If you remember, this is a decay function, okay, because it's going down. There's only one answer that makes sense here. What does b have to be if it is decaying?
Negative.
Mm-mm.
Oh, it has to be less than 1.
It has to be less than 1. So it's got to be this one. Okay, now here's the way that you can figure this out. If that is foreign to you, you don't have to, be worried or anything. You just have to look and see which option for B is a decaying function. So here it is. If we do 0.83 raised to the x power, you see how it is decaying. Okay, it's going down. Does it look exactly like the one that we have? No, but it is going the same direction. Here's the alternative here.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not going to be the same. Any of these, the rest of them are all going to be growth functions, which is not decay. So it has to be 0.83. Okay, we have this one here. Now, I remember, was it you saying trig that you needed like review on? Trig and geometry? Okay, so, and Elam, if you need help with any specific topic, feel free to just type it in the chat and I'm happy to go over that too. So the value of cosine of x. Now, this one is being really nice to you. They're giving you the two values that you need. Okay. When in doubt, if you're struggling with trig, when in doubt, throw these two numbers in a fraction. Okay. That would be my suggestion to you. That is the answer. Okay. It's adjacent over hypotenuse, and the adjacent side is 11, and the hypotenuse, which is always opposite the 90-degree angle, is 28. So your answer is 11 over 28. Okay. Yeah, that's a wrap. Okay, this one. What is a positive solution to the given equation? It's 5. Okay, now, again, if you didn't know that, you can just take this and do y equals. Now, this is important. You do need to do y equals and not just equals 0 so that you can actually see what this graph is going to look like. Okay, it's going to have 3 zeros. It's a cubic function, so it's going to have down, up, and behavior. It's going to hit the x-axis 3 times, and in fact, they're all right there. All you have to do is click on them. So the positive solution to the given equation is 5. Okay. In other words, an easy way to think about this is you just take the number inside the parentheses and switch the sign. Okay. Oh, good. Okay, he said he needs help with trig and geometry too. So are there specific questions that you guys need help on, that you need help on? If it's stuff like this, we are going to get to more with circles and stuff like this.
Yeah, it's ones like these where you have to compare two triangles.
Okay, so triangle compare similar triangles. Okay, and then let me know, Elam, too, if you have specific types of questions that you want to work on as well. Because it really, when we have a group of this size, it can really be personalized. So I'm happy to work through and kind of nail down whatever you guys need help with. We don't have to just rep these out. But I do want to give you guys some tricks, though, as far as how to answer these so that you're well set up for Saturday. So in the figure shown, WZ and XY intersect at point Q. Okay, they intersect there. Now it says YQ is 63, WQ is 70, WX is 60, XQ is 120. What is the length of YZ? Okay, I'm just gonna draw this out. I think on my notepad here. try to see if we can come up with this. This is not going to be perfect, just so we're all aware of that. All right, we're going to have WX, QYZ. I think it said, maybe it did not say that. I thought it said X degrees, A degrees. So it's saying that these two are the same. Okay, they're both labeled as A degrees. Then they give us a bunch of information down here. They say YQ is 63. WQ is 70. They say WX is 60. And XQ is 120. Okay. And we are asked to find the length of YZ. So we'll call that B. And it does say that it intersects. These two intersect here, which implies that these two are also the same.
Do a ratio here?
Proportion.
Yeah.
Yes, a proportion. We are going to do a proportion. These two. Okay, what would our proportion be?
63 over 60 equals 70 over B.
63 over.
Or
No.
B over 70. Yeah.
63, because these are oriented backwards. So this side and this side actually go together. It's like a mirror image. And then this side and this side go together. Okay. Now there's a couple different ways to set this up. You can do 63 over 60, but then you would have to do 70 over B. Okay. I would suggest probably just using the colors 63 and 70, and then we're going to do B over 60. Okay. So from this point, what we would do is cross multiply this one over here. We're going to leave that 70 there because we'd have to divide by it anyway. So we've and then we're going to divide that by 70. So our answer is 54. Now, I'm wondering, is there a way that we can get to that answer a different way? Not looking like it because it's not multiple choice. Yeah, so WXXQ. Yeah, I'm not thinking that that's a possibility. Okay. And if there's any questions as we're going on over this stuff, please feel free to ask. Like I said, we'll dig into it. Okay, now this one is tricky. When I went out the first time, it took me a minute. So the function g is defined by this graph here where t is a constant. In the xy plane, the graph of y equals g of x passes through the point 24, 0. So what is the value of g of 0? Okay. Yes, we've got to plug 24 in for what value? For x. And then what do we do with the 0 for the other coordinate point? Correct. That's going to be, yeah, y, essentially. So if we have 0 there, 0 equals 24. Actually, we can just type that right here. Okay. So, well, you won't need to. You won't need to. This, plugging it in here, I'm just going to use x as a variable, even though it's not x, just to kind of keep it as a placeholder. But I would let the math, let it do it for you. Okay. So t is 24 here. Okay. It's actually the same value. Now, if t is 24, what do we have to do for g of 0? Because that's what we're asking for. What is g of 0? And we know that t is 24 on this one.
So that would just be 0 plus 14.
Good, good. So it's going to be 0 plus 14 and 24 minus 0. Okay, and we get 336 for that. Okay. All right, so here's another one, 21. So now this is getting towards, this is the very end of the test, really, module 1 anyway. And did you have questions on the math or anything? Okay. So this number of zebras in a population in 2018, 1.27 times the number of zebras in this population in 2018. If the number of zebras in this population in 2014, population, okay. Literally every sentence has in this population in it. Okay. And also the number of the zebras. In 2018, what is the value of p to the nearest whole number? Feel free to reread that if you need to. I am doing. Oh, I think this is a trick question. Yeah.
Maybe 1 minus 0.27?
That's a good question. Since we are increasing it, I would leave the 1 there.
But it says if the number of zeros in the population in 2014%.
Oh, right. Oh, you're right. So it is less. Yes. So then, yes, you would subtract it. Okay. So this one is just going to be 27%. 1.27 minus 1. So the number of zebras in a population, let me think about that. It was 1.27 times the number.
I feel like it'd be 1 minus. Because that's like what's left.
You said 1 minus 0.27?
Yeah.
So 73%. Yeah, when we end it, we'll look at the answer for sure. Let me think about this though. So the number, this is the kind of question that I mean, where like banking up all that time from the beginning, you need it for questions like this because your brain is like going to craziness. So I'm going to actually write this down. The population, so we have maybe. So the question is redundant, so we need to mark it off. I don't necessarily disagree with you. Okay, population in 2018 is 1.27 times the population of 2014. If the number of zebras in this population in 2014 is p%, this is bananas, is p% of the population of 2018. Okay, I'm going to change these two zebras, these, because it says p% in here. You may be right. I'm trying to see what's going on here. Okay, so I'm going to do substitution here. This is how my brain thinks about this. I'm going to put this in for this value right here. So I'm going to do Z 2018 is 1.27 times p% of the zebra population in 2018. So if we divide both of these by Z2018, that's going to get rid of that. This is going to be a 1. So it's actually going to be 1 divided by 1.27, 78%, yeah. So interestingly, let's see, this would be 1.27. 0.79 is really what I'm getting, equals, so it'd be 79%. 73% is what we were saying just a minute ago. I think it's this way. So let me back up for a second. Okay. In the word problem, okay, this is one that you were talking about yesterday, word problems, and just overall, this is the second to last question on the module, is tough, okay? I put this into a system of equations because it was talking about the zebras in this year is this percent and and it was too much for my brain to process. So I'm calling this zebra population 18. The first one right here, this is the first sentence. So let's go back over here for a second. So this is not right. Okay. It's going to be 79 here. The number of zebras in a population in 2018 was 1.27 times the number of zebras in 2014. Okay, so just recapping that. That's what this first line says up here. Then that other line says that the number of zebras in this population in 2014 is P% of the number of zebras in 2018. So that's this second equation right here. So what I did was since this one is 2014, I substituted this value in for Z of 2014 here, and then just solved for P. Okay. So from this step, we divided both sides by 2018, Z of 2018, and we get 1 here. So remember, anything divided by itself is 1. And then from here, to solve for P, we have to divide both sides by 1.27. So this is what we're getting here. And a percent, as to take a decimal to a percent, would be 79%, approximately. 7.787 is what it is before, but it says round it to the nearest hundredth, I believe, or tenth. Nearest whole number, yes, would be 79%. So anyway, we will check this. I appreciate you definitely saying like something about that. This one was tricky to kind of think through. I don't know that I'd be able to solve this one in my head. Especially towards the end, you would have flagged this, and this would have been one of the last questions that you would have gotten to anyway, using our strategy. So if you didn't get to it, not a huge deal. Okay, we're not fighting for a 36, as I mentioned. You're fighting for the score higher than whatever you got last time. Okay, here's one that is also a geometry question. Okay, circle A is shown is defined by this equation given. Circle B not shown as a result of shifting circle A down 6 units and increasing the radius so that the radius of the circle B is 2 times the radius of circle A. So it's going to be down and larger. Which equation defines circle B? Any ideas on this one, or how we should approach this? Okay. Now, which factor or which number deals with the radius? The one on the right. Okay, so the radius is currently 9.
Oh, is this the radius squared?
Oh, yes. Sorry, radius is 3. Currently 3.
Yeah. Oh, so it'd be C. Okay.
It's got to be either C or A.
That'd be 36. C.
So now to look at the differences between A and C, one has a positive 6 for Y, one has a negative 6 for Y. How do we eliminate, or how do we go from there to tell which one is down 6 units?
We'll see this. A would be
Okay, now let's just check it, right? So it's always good to put in the thought process behind it and to use logic. 100%, I recommend that. I also recommend in the same token, let's just check it just to be sure. Okay, here's our current circle, the one that's shown already. Let's check option C. And what we're expecting it to be is a circle that is bigger and moved down. And even typing it in takes a little bit of time too to check it. So yeah, you know why? Here's why. It's actually, I'll type it in exactly how it's shown just for sake of doing it that way. Okay. The actual formula for a circle has negatives in it already. So when you plug in a negative, when you're shifting it down, it makes it positive. Now, we eliminated these two options, rightfully so, okay? And we were able to figure out that the radius of the new circle needed to be 6, so r squared would be 36, hence 9 times 4. Now, if we can narrow it down to this two, at this point, I would highly recommend going into Desmos. You can still make an educated guess, but I would still recommend doing that because you saw how easy it would have been to just assume that it was down. Now, you're right. Most of the time when you're dealing with parabolas and all that stuff, a negative on the outside or whatever does mean that you are shifting down. For a circle, it's different. Okay. So this one is going to be option A. Any questions there? That is the last question of module 1. Okay. Yes, we will. We absolutely will. I'm confident that's how you do that one. After looking at it as a system of equations, you have to. That has to be right. I'll pull it up on here when we're done. Let me see if I can. Sometimes, well, I say that. Sometimes it doesn't let me log in because I'm an educator. So it doesn't let me view my practice results, but we'll get it. It lets me log in on here just fine, but it gives me fits on this one. Okay. And by the way, which question was that? Because it's going to be annoying. Okay. Yeah, trust me, it'll bug me if that's wrong too. But yeah, I'm sure that's how you do it. Okay, see if it will allow me. The passwords app is my lifeline. I don't know about you guys. This is for me. For everything, right? I have to use the strong passwords. Let's see. Yeah, see, you're attempting to access a page that is
I guess I could go home.
yeah, it always gives me issues on here. But you know what's interesting though is when I log, it'll allow me on here to view the interface, like the Blue Book interface, but it won't allow me to do it on the computer. It's just kind of stupid. And we can always, I will verify it also with AI. We can do that. Okay, let's hop over here. So you guys have already done this particular one. Okay, this is question 11. So the end of the easy type, the beginning of the medium type of questions. What is the solution to this system of two equations here? It's C, okay, just where they cross, where that circle is. And yes, I agree that Desmos is a cheat code. Okay, what is the value of g of 4 here? It's 22. All we're doing is plugging 4 in for x, and then 4 plus 18. Okay. If you did not know that, get the calculator. Okay. This thing really is very helpful. We have 4 plus 18 is 22. Okay, here's a geometry one. The perimeter of an isosceles triangle is 36 feet. Each of the two congruent sides of the third triangle has a length of 10 feet. What is the length in feet of the third side? Going to be C. We have 36. Now, isosceles, it's even if you don't know what isosceles means, it further tells you each of the two congruent sides. It's telling you that two of them are the same and two of them are 10. So 36 minus 20 is 16. Okay. This one normally, as you're going through them, I would suggest flagging and moving on, but we're going to go ahead and work through it because we've got time. A bank account was opened with an initial deposit. Okay, over the next several months, regular deposits were made into this account and there were no withdrawals made during this time. The graph of the function f shown where y equals f of x estimates the account balance in dollars in this bank account x months since the initial deposit. To the nearest whole dollar, what is the amount of the initial deposit estimated by the graph? It's always the y-intercept, okay? Normally for these, I don't actually read the whole thing. I usually just read the question and then kind of look at the graph or whatever is given, because the rest of it, like especially the thing about the zebra one, like that was a headache to read. This one, you don't even need that context. It just provides kind of a headache in and of itself. It just says, what is the amount of the initial deposit estimated by the graph? Boom. Y-intercept. Easy peasy. Okay. And these, I mean, honestly, we're still kind of tracking at the 15-second mark. We haven't really done a whole lot. So that's great. At a movie theater, there's a total of 350 customers. Okay, this one's going to require some math. Each customer is located in either theater A, theater B, or theater C. If one of these customers is selected at random, the probability of selecting a customer who is located in theater A is 0.48, and the probability of selecting a customer who is located in theater B is 0.24. How many customers are located in theater C?
So 48% minus 4%.
Good. That's going to be 72% total with those two. So it would be 28%. Okay. So 28% of what?
Of the customers are in theaters.
Good. And we talked about this yesterday where we can just literally type in percent here. There we go. 350 is 98. Yeah, for sure. Now, you could even kind of round this. You could do 50% instead of 48 and then 25% for easy math. Let's see here. Is this the one that adapts in difficulty based? Yes. So this, correct. Now, when I'm doing it on here, it does not adapt based on how we did because it's just practice, but the live one does adapt. So, and it's kind of hard to explain, but basically if you guys solve, I don't know what percentage it is or how they gauge it, but if you answer most of them correct, then you are automatically funneled into the harder route for the SAT. If you don't score several of them correct, you are funneled into this way. There's only two funnels. So you either go up or you go down. And when you go up, your score is capped at that 800 score. When you go down, you don't have the capability to get that 800 anymore because you've scored poorly on the first go. Okay. I'm hoping that when you guys go take it, you're going to feel so smart that you're going to feel like it got easier and you're just going to get an 800 and be done with it. That's my hope. So don't panic if you feel like it's easier. It just means that you're well equipped to answer it, hopefully. All right, Brian saves 2/5 of the $215 he earns each week from his job. If Brian continues to save at this rate, how much money in dollars will Brian save in 9 weeks?
So this time T.
Mm-hmm. Good. This thing, 2/5 times 215 times 9. Yep. That is it. Okay. And they're trying to just make it sound a lot more complicated than it is. Okay. At the end of the day, he's saving most of his money, right? I mean, I say most, but that's a lot to be saving. Most people usually save about anywhere from 10 to 20, maybe even 30% if you can, but inflation, hashtag inflation. Um, so, he right here, he's saving like 40% of his money. That's a lot. That's almost half. I'm thinking about that like, geez, I don't know if I could live on just 60% of my income. And then he's over here raking it in. I know, Brian, what are you doing? Well, but he's earning 215 each week. He just has no expenses. He has to be a teen, or maybe he's like a 30-year-old, yeah, living at home, living in somebody's basement. That's what he's doing. Brian probably does not have his life together, but he's able to save 40%. So kudos to Brian. Some of these questions, like there was one that was talking about an apartment or somebody was like a real estate agent renting out apartments, and it was like a 1-bedroom apartment goes for $300 a month. I was like, in the slums, like where are you living? Like some abandoned house? No. And it was like a 1-bedroom and the 2-bedroom was like $400 a month. I was like, no. Where literally I want to see this apartment. Where is it? We're in a shack. That's what we're doing. $400 a month. It's wild what rent goes for, especially in this area. Like the Elevate apartments, so expensive. It's a lot.
It's like, I'm into like real estate and all that.
Yeah.
It's 32, 3,600 for one of those apartments.
Yeah.
So,
Wild behavior. That's like 3 times my mortgage, and I have a house. But it's because it's the luxury living, and you're next to Starbucks and across, you're right off of 87 and probably have a sliver of the Gulf in your view, and they upcharge it.
Yeah, for sure.
When I lived in Destin, they tried to sell me this top view, and they're like, look at the view of this. And I was like, what view? I'm like, you're literally price gouging because I can see 1 centimeter of the water.
But it comes with a telescope.
Yeah, in hopes and prayers that you're going to see it that day. I don't know. But it was just so funny. Yeah, it's wild. So some of these questions, Brian, is able to save 40% of his income. Good, kudos to Brian, which works out to be, 7,500, whatever it is, 750, 775, in 9 weeks. Not awful. All right, let's look at this guy. Now this, I'm going to okay, this is a game changer. Let me see if there's an easy way. Okay, is this a growth or a decay function? Let's start there. It is growth. We know it's growth because of the 2. Okay, 2 is greater than 1, so it's growth. Are there any of these that are decay? No. But I would at least look there first, okay, and see if you can eliminate it. Now, this is the deal of what I want to show you here. You can do this one of 2 ways. You can input a table, which I would recommend. This is how I would do it. You're going to type in -1, 0, 1. And then I'm just going to type in my answer choices, -64, 0, and 64. Now, this is the key here. Do you see the left bolded blue bar with the 4 dots and the line through it? Okay, you're going to click that. We don't want a linear regression though. We want an exponential regression. Okay, if this were the answer, excuse me, it is a power regression, not an exponential regression. Okay, we want a power regression. This would be the equation of it, 64 times x to the first. Something doesn't feel right about this. I feel like I have, maybe it is power. I feel like I've always done exponential here. Okay, let's try the next one here. I'm going to type in the second option and see if we get somewhere. We have 1 over 16, then we've got 2, and then 64. Oh, you see, the other one was weird. It is an exponential regression. That was correct. I was like, I've never seen Desmos spit out a decimal like that when I've worked this one out before. I don't recall that. Anyway, you're going to do an exponential regression. And then when you type in the table, it's going to spit out the equation to you guys. Okay. You just have to match it. So option A is out. Option B is out. We have 32 here. Okay. So it has to be D. 16. There's you. Okay. There it is. Now you know what though? I think that there is a way to figure this out because 16, 32, and 64 are all powers of 2. Okay, so this is a base of 2. Your answers are going to be powers, multiples of powers of 2. Okay, so that's a good way to think about it. Anyway, this is how I would type that in. So just to recap that, you click on this plus sign over here. You click on table, you input your X under your X1, all of your X values under the X1 column, you input all of your Y values under the Y1 column. You're going to click on exponential regression for this, but if it is asking for a quadratic regression or a linear regression, you can pick those, okay? This right here would be the equation of the line that best fits this data, if it's just a line. Okay, we're not doing that. A quartic regression. I actually haven't seen that on the SAT at all. This would be the best parabola of the shape of these dots, but this one specifically is asking for exponential here because of the problem that's given. Okay, and after we do that, we just match it. So it's got to be option D here. Okay, a right circular cylinder, so this is another geometry question, has a base diameter of 22 and a height of 6. What is the volume of the cylinder? If you forgot, it is right here. Volume is pi r squared h. Okay, so just going to type in our pi here. What is r? Radius, which is 11. Squared. It doesn't really matter where this goes, but there we go. Okay, and then what is the height? Now, I just noticed that pi is actually a part of our answer, so it's 726. Any questions on that one too? Okay, what is the slope of this graph in the xy plane? Mm-mm.
Oh, we should have distributed.
And then add it. So I would, let's use our resources here. So we have y equals 1/3, and then 29x plus 10 plus 5x. Okay, you can, well, maybe not here. Okay, so 20, you probably could. Okay, never mind. But anyway, 29/3 after you distribute that plus 5. Okay. Now, I don't think it matters. You can input this answer as is. Okay, you could do 14.67 or 44/3. 44/3 is certainly a more exact answer. Okay, if your answer is a decimal that doesn't fit, enter it by truncating or rounding at the 4th digit. So if you were to input that as a decimal, it would have to be 14.6666667. Okay. Every day of my life is 6-7. Even so, I thought it would die out by now, and it hasn't. I know, because we're more aware. And I've got 3 kids. I think it's so funny. But every time I'm doing any math problem, always. And I'm like, I don't want to say it. Okay, a rectangle, this is another one here. A rectangle is inscribed in a circle such that each vertex of the rectangle lies on the circumference of the circle. Yeah. The diagonal of the rectangle is twice the length of the shortest side of the rectangle, and the area of the rectangle is 1089 radical 3 square units. What is the length in units of the diameter of the circle? Yeah, it's a lot going on there. This one, we have no choice. We're gonna have to write this out, okay? Now, a rectangle being inscribed in a circle, it means that there's a circle with a rectangle inside of it. Okay. Furthermore, it says that it's touching the sides, all the vertices of the rectangle are touching the sides of the circle. I'm gonna make it as close as we can. Okay, they all touch. Then it says that the diagonal is twice the smallest side. So I'm just gonna call this smallest side X. I'm gonna make this 2X. It says the area is 1089 radical 3. Wait, area of this rectangle, circle, area, rectangle is 1089 radical 3. Okay. Do you recognize this rectangle? It is a special rectangle. It is a 30, 60, 90. Don't worry if you didn't get that. They do have it on the reference sheet. There. We literally have 2x and x already. So our third side is x radical 3. So how do we find the area of a rectangle? What's the formula for that? Yeah, or length times width, same thing. Okay. What is our length here? Either one. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Okay, so whatever one you didn't pick for the length or width, you just flip it, whatever. So multiplying this would be x squared radical 3 or radical 3 x squared. Now, since both of these are equal to a, that means they're equal to each other. So we have 1089 radical 3 equals x squared radical 3. And if we divide both sides by radical 3, then take the square root, I think this is a perfect square. Oh, hello. It's going to be 33. And that's just x. Let's make sure that's what they're asking us for. Okay, what is the length now of the diameter? Okay, so we have to read carefully because you might just enter 33 and be done with it. 33 is what x is. It's asking us for the diameter. So it's 2 times 33, so 66. Close to 67, but it wasn't. Okay, 66. Now, conservatively, I think that one would probably take you 3 minutes minimum to answer. You're only allotted 1. That means you have to have 2 minutes compensated for throughout the rest of the test, and that's for one problem. Okay. Here's another one. Okay, which of the following tables are all the values of x and their corresponding values of y solutions to the given inequality? you could just type in all of these values and figure out which one is in there. Which for some of this is going to be relatively easy. So for the 440, if we plug in 440 and 0, okay, that's one that is on the first two. That will either tell us we're good on that one or we need to eliminate those options. If we plug in 440 for X, we're going to get 880 minus 0. Is that greater than 883? No. So right off the bat, we can eliminate those two and not even entertain them. From this point, let's look at this carefully. Okay, they're trying to throw you off a little bit by not ordering them the same. Okay, the Y's are in the same, but the X's are not. Okay, so just be aware of that as you're going through. Make sure that you're looking out for stuff like that. So we don't have to type in 442 and 0 because that's not going to help. We'll be able to figure out pretty quickly. Okay, 441 and -2. If we type in 441 or we plug in 441 up here, we're going to get 882, and 882 minus a -2, so plus 2. 882 plus 2 is 884. That does work for that one. Here's the more simplistic version. Okay, if mental math is not your jam, we're just going to go type these in. Okay. And then we're going to type in the original function. Three is a big number. There we go. Okay, so this, we have to get pretty close here. Okay, this one on the left here, the 441 is the outlier. That one is not a part of the solution set because it needs to be in the shaded area. So C is not it. It has to be D. I would always suggest checking it just to be sure. And you can see that all three dots for option D are in the red area. So that means that those points are solutions to the equation or to the inequality. Any questions there? All right, this one is just determining a system of equations. This is similar to the one that we were working on with the zebras, except it's just creating the equation. It's not even asking you to solve it. Okay, the original price for a mirror and a vase is 60. Now, let's start there and look at our answer choices. Equation one of all of them are the same. So that information is not helping us at all. We have to figure out the other part, okay? After a 25% discount to the mirror and a 45% discount to the vase are applied, the combined sale price for the two items is $39. Okay. The trick, let me ask you this, what is the trick answer? Okay, that is one of the trick answers where you're flipping them. What's the other one? D. You have to be very careful with that. D, what D will give you, if you multiply by 0.25, that's going to give you the amount that you got off. It's not going to give you the sale price. The sale price is the other part of the percentage. So if it's 25% off, how much are you actually paying of the item? 75%. So it's got to be this one. And it's 75% of the mirror and 55% of the vase. So that goes with the M, the other one goes with the V. Okay. Any questions on that? I don't think it lets me go back to module 1. Let me see. 2018. I'm just going to search for the question real quick. 2018 zebra population, 2014 zebra population, SAT math question. See if I can find it. And we got 79%. That one was correct. According to, oh, it was in Goth. Somebody already asked it. App as well. Okay. What I want to do here. Now, I do want to make this very targeted. Okay. So we have today, tomorrow is going to be comprehensive. It's going to be everything. And as I mentioned, there's going to be more students in here. So that will be definitely more of a lecture type of thing where we're just going to roll through all the sections. And I'm going to give you guys opportunities to answer them. And hopefully you guys will feel very equipped because you've been with me all week. The students, the additional students who are coming tomorrow, it will be their first time here. So that should help build you guys' confidence a lot. Feel free to participate well. You know, when I'm asking questions tomorrow, feel free to participate well in the class because it'll help build your confidence going into Saturday, knowing that you've already put in 8 hours of prep for this. The people who are coming tomorrow have only put in 2. Okay, so that alone would help you because you've seen a lot of these things worked out. You've seen a lot of the tips and tricks, and that'll give you kind of a leg up in that realm. What I want to do is give you guys an opportunity to work some out for sure, but also ask questions. So I know that we were talking about geometry and trig. Are there any types of questions like the ones that we went through or any others that you guys want to work through?
When you're finding the value of its trig ratio, like say 11 over 27, and then inverse.
Correct.
The trig function.
Yep.
So like inverse tan 11 over 27 negative.
Correct. Yep. And like I said, when in doubt, throw those numbers in a fraction. I know that that sounds like wild to say, but that's exactly what they're doing. The worst thing that you'll have to do is to use the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared, and then you'll get another value. You can still put it in a fraction. Anytime you're going to see trig, you're going to have a fraction. When you have like a triangle or something for cosine, because it is a ratio. Okay. Any specific types of questions that you can think through or think of?
I just get like hard practice.
Yeah. That's what we're about to do.
Can I use it often?
Sure. Go for it. Okay. So in this one, you guys have the packet for, let me see here. And these practice tests, let me see. We're going to work through the hardest types of them because I do want to over prepare you for that. And that's kind of the goal for today, is to work through all of the difficult sections of it. You know what? I think this is in my other here. Yeah, this is it. Okay. Now, see, I don't know because the Brian's in this one. I don't know what they did. I know, Brian, man, I need to figure out what Brian's doing. Except make more, still be able to save more. Okay, here, so let me double check and see. I think this is the 6th test here. I've got like a million of them, so let me make sure. Yeah, this is SAT practice test number 6. So this is the one that we were working out of yesterday, the paper version that you guys have. So what we'll do, we're going to work backwards. Okay. And now, do you guys want to try them? Okay. Yeah. So let's try that. So, and then Elam said, can we do another one like the 60, 30, 90 triangle? Absolutely. So we'll do another one of those. Let's go ahead and practice. And Elam, let me know if you need me to send this to you again. This is the same packet that we were working out of yesterday, practice test number 6, the PDF version. And this is the end of module 2, the very last question, number 27. Okay, so this would be the hardest section. It's not potentially the hardest question, but it is the hardest section of questions. Okay. And you can use your calculator on this if you need to. Okay, so I'll give you guys a little bit to solve this. Would you like a Sprite now?
No, it's
Okay. Listen, sometimes this halfway mark starts to go downhill quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tell you what, the Sprite is like the most refreshing drink.
It
I've
is.
had. It's lovely.
Except if it's like McDonald's Sprite and then you get it's like spark plugs in your throat.
I kind of like that though. I don't know. It's good.
I don't know. I feel like they'll be putting some things in that is not normal. So we are working on in your packet the end of module 2 in math, number 27. Sure. Yep. By the way, how was leg day? I figured that's why you were late today. You're having trouble walking up the stairs.
It's pretty good.
Good.
Okay, but out in my chest.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely love this question.
Okay.
Algebra functions like that.
Okay. Now I want to give you guys, or you can start working on 26 if you want. I don't want to go over it yet before you guys have a chance to kind of think through it a little bit. But you can work backwards. So you can go on to number 26 if you want and try to just continue to work it. And then we're going to go through this together. Go to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. Would you like a drink or anything? Sure. Have like Sprite, Diet Dr. Pepper.
I don't know.
Okay. If you guys want one before you leave, let me know. I'll grab one. You're doing keto or intermittent fasting?
No, I just trying to time my cards before.
Working out again?
Yeah.
What day is today?
Just in time.
Yes, I'm back. Hate those days. Hate that. All female. Said every female ever. But leg day, I can do it all day. Did you get it?
I think it's negative 28.
I don't know. Let me look. Sounds about right. I can pull up these answers on my computer too. Yeah, let me just pull it up on here. Okay, how did you solve it? That's most important, by the way.
Factored out 8 from both sides.
Okay.
And then just simplify it from there until I have y equals 3 over 7x plus 3 over 14 for the top one.
Okay.
And then I figured if they have no solution, it's the same slope. So I just figured negative 12, right? It has to be divided by r. It has to equal 3/7. So negative 12 divided by negative.
Yeah, that should be right. I'm pulling it up right now to double check. 27. Good. That was, so I highlighted that the system has no solution. That's the key. Okay, you have to solve it in y equals mx plus b form. I am going to work this out, by the way. Let's see here, negative 28. Yep, good. Okay, so in here, all we're going to do is get both equations into y equals mx plus b form. That's going to allow us to see what the slope is in both of them. Okay, and we're going to set them equal to each other. So from up here, we're going to, I guess it doesn't really matter, but subtract 48y from both sides. And then we're going to subtract 48x. Okay. So negative 48y, negative 64y minus 48y is going to be negative 112y. It's going to be equal to negative 48x plus 24. I know you mentioned that you factored out an 8 first. Probably would be smart to divide both sides, make your math a little easier. What was that? So it's going to be 14 if we divide by, oh, we'll just divide everything by, I guess, negative 8. Yeah. So 14y equals positive 6x minus 3. And then divide everything by 14. So from here, I went ahead and divided everything by negative 8. And then we divide everything by negative 14 to get y equals, when we simplify. Now, this part is kind of irrelevant. We don't really care about that. We only need the slope. You have a question? So we're just solving for y, using the first one, solving for y. The second one, when we solve for y, we have ry equals 1/8 minus 12x. Okay, this, they're trying to throw you here. This is our slope. So it has nothing to do with the fraction. We're going to divide by r, but this is the only thing that we care about right here. So we're going to set these two things equal to each other. So you have 3/7 equals negative 12 over r. Cross multiply. And then divide by 3. What was this, 28? Okay, so recapping that, they give us two random equations. Get them into slope-intercept form. Okay. Since they have no solution, they have the same slope. Once we get them into slope-intercept form, we can set the slopes equal to each other. Okay. All right, what is 26 going to be? Use logic first. You got it? Okay. What's our y-intercept?
Like
12. Okay, now you got to be careful. In the answer choices, they have it backwards. Okay, they're trying to trick you. This number is our y-intercept. So right off the bat, A and B are out. Now we have to decide, is the slope really steep or is it not so steep? Yeah, it's not super steep. Let's see. We got to look at the scale too, because it's going over. I mean, yeah, it's really not that steep. This would be 15 here. This step up would probably be 17-ish. And then this is 2. So you're talking about like a slope of 1. Really, it's not huge. It's got to be D.
Wouldn't we rule C and D out because we're multiplying each y coordinate? Because data set F is created by multiple.
Thank you. I guess it would help if I read the question. check. Okay, there we go. Now this one is different, a little different. Any ideas on how we started though? So I've got it set up on here. A circle has a center C with coordinates HK. Okay, points A and B both lie on the circle. Now that's important because from the center to the edge of the circle is a radius. So that means that they're identical. Okay, this is the 45, 45, 90 triangle. Now, what is the length of AB? So it's asking us for the length of the hypotenuse. Okay. Trying to think here, the best way that I can describe this, okay, this is the vertical component of A. In other words, this from C to A is the vertical component. So from what I'm thinking, this is going to be square root of 102. Because A is K plus that. Well, if this is the square root of 102, this is the square root of 102, this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle, which means this third side is whatever this is times radical 2. It is very cool. However, this is not very intuitive. I don't know that I've ever had a student be able to solve this one successfully, like, and not just guess it right. Okay.
How is it root 206 if it's multiplied by root 2? Maybe 204.
Well, let me think then. Okay, 102 would be x radical 2. Maybe that's a typo.
Is that the right answer?
25 is A. I'm gonna break it down and see if maybe there is a way that it would be simplified. 3 and 17. Well, yeah, I feel like this, something's weird. Hold on. Just like the other day when I said, I think it was yesterday when I was like, do you guys see my mistake? When I was writing it down, there might be a mistake in here that I wrote down. The horizontal component is to the right 1. The vertical component is 2. Okay, hold on. Let me. I'm going to draw it more accurately. I drew it straight up and down, but it's not actually what it's saying here. This is C. This is, yeah. And maybe that is why I'm thinking it might be this way. Okay. No, shouldn't have to. So if I have a coordinate plane here, well, I don't know, maybe you do. The horizontal component would be 1. The vertical component, yeah, that would make this guy if you create, maybe this is why, if you create little triangles, we know that this is the radius of the circle, which is going to be 102, radical 102. Wait a minute, hold on. Wait. Yes. But what would this up here be? Oh,
This is 1.
1. Hello. That's why I was waiting. I was like, how do we get there? Right.
And then radius would be square root of 103. That's
Close. Yeah, this should be 102 squared.
well, root 102 squared is this one.
Ah, thank you. I don't have that over here. There you go. There you go. Very good. Very good. I think because I drew it oriented vertically, it was kind of, that's the mistake there. I was like, something is not computing here. Okay, good. So this is going to be, and then the square root would be c squared. Wait a minute. No, this would be c squared. And so then the square root of 103 is c. Okay. Correct. So from here, okay, so now looking at this triangle, now this one, now the information that I have on this one is correct, minus the fact that this should be 103. Okay, and then this is going to be radical 103 times radical 2. Very good. Yeah, I was like, something's weird here. But again, again, conservatively, that question alone would take you at least 5 minutes. So for these, I would recommend, skip them if you need to, make an educated guess, move on. If you have an abundance of time and you apply the strategies that we've gone over yesterday and today, that should allow you to have the time to be able to allocate towards these. Okay. Just don't give yourself a brain aneurysm if you can't figure it out. Not worth it. We need you here. It is a tough one. Hey, you asked for it. And I'm thankful because the part of this that I really enjoy, especially with us having a smaller group for this, is that we have the time to sit here and digest and think through, hey, that doesn't look right. Hey, let's do that. And then just by, being able to fix it and turn it, and we can actually have the opportunity to problem solve. And you guys are going to remember working through this with me. Oh no, I remember, because she had to rotate it a little bit because there's a horizontal shift and a vertical shift for that vertex, of the triangle. Anyway, this is good. Okay, 24. So the function f is defined by f of x equals a radical x plus b, where a and b are constants. This one is a fun one. And then in the xy plane, the graph of y equals f of x passes through the point. Negative 24 is 0, and f of 24 is less than 0, which of the following must be true? So perhaps think about how this graph looks, like what the parent function looks like, if you can remember.
Like a parabola chopped in half.
Yeah. So if I were to just sketch it, and if it were centered at the origin, which it's not, it's going to look like this.
Yeah.
But yes, that's exactly what it is. It's a parabola chop in half to fill it. In this case, it's saying that it passes through negative 24, 0, somewhere over yonder. We don't know if it starts there or if it's just one of the values that pass through it, though. But we do know that f of 24, f of positive 24, is negative.
Yes.
Reflected.
Yes.
Yep. So basically, what we're deducing here is if the graph looked like what we initially said, it would be like this. But given this information, it says that the values for the graph here are below the y-axis. So what we're deducing is that the graph actually needs to be tipped upside down. It's going to look like that, which means A has to be negative. Which means what? It is good. Okay. Now B also has to be positive because we are underneath this radical here. Remember, we can't have negatives under the radical and still have the graph exist. And because A has to be negative, D is only one that makes sense. Good. All right, here's another one. This one is a fun one as well. The function f is defined by the given equation. The equation can be rewritten as this, where p is a constant. Which of the following is closest to the value of p? It is going to be A. Okay, but how though?
Because you distribute the 4 denominator of the exponent. So I just took 4.
Very good. Okay. Another way to rewrite this, we did this yesterday. When you have a radical, it becomes the denominator of your exponent. Okay, and it works the other way. If you start with a denominator in your exponent, it's going to become the index of your radical. So this will be the fourth root of 1.84 raised to the x power. And that directly models, that format models what we are asked to find. So the fourth root of 1.84 is 1.16. And because we have, it's formatted like this, they're just trying to throw you off. This is 1 plus 16 over 100. So P is 16. Another way, if you're like, okay, that's not clicking with me, you can do process of elimination in Desmos, guys. Okay, type these in for P and type in your original equation and see which ones overlap. Okay, super simple. You don't have to know all the ins and the outs. This is great. This is algebraic. This is how you do it. That's wonderful. But you don't have to know this in order to solve this problem. Okay, I've tutored kids that have not had Algebra 2 yet and have successfully passed the ACT to where they need to go, which is impressive because Algebra 2 is where you cover all this stuff. And they've not even taken it yet, but they want to take the ACT. I'm like, bro, setting yourself up for, but we can try, okay? And so literally it stretches me as an educator because I have to think creatively, how can we still get to the answer and not understand? that this is the conversion between rational exponents and radicals. You use what you've got. You use your Desmos, you use process of elimination, and you can still get to the answer. Okay? And inevitably, some people just don't enjoy math. So I have to, as much as it pains me to say that, I have to understand that not everybody is going to enjoy the process. Okay. This is another one here. Okay, we have another geometry one. So Elam, this is it's another right triangle. It's not exactly a 30, 60, 90. We can do another one like that, but this one is just a triangle one for you. Okay. Try this one. See if you can get to the answer. I just want you guys to try it. And even if you can't get to the answer, guess. And that's still going to be helpful for you. What do you get? It is B. Now, I'm going to show you guys a trick here that is maybe mind-boggling to you. This is a 15-second one that you can solve. Here's how. Okay. We know that we have a right triangle. We know that we've got ABC. B is the right angle, that's what it says there. AB is 10 radical 37. BC is going to be 24 radical 37. Now, we know already that we're going to have radical 37 in our answer because it's a constant that's being multiplied. And additionally, hello, it's in all of our answer choices. So let's just not even look at the radical 37. What we need to look at, though, are these numbers. There's something called Pythagorean triples that I have seen on every single SAT and ACT that I have ever done in 15 years of tutoring this. Every single one of them. And I'm going to tell you what they are. I would highly suggest you memorize these. Okay? This is incredibly helpful because take a look at this. 10 and 24 might not look like that right off the bat to you. But 10 and 24 are both divisible by what number? 2, which then turns it into So if this one is 5 times 2, this one is going to be 12 times 2. Now our constant being multiplied is this, and we don't have to pay attention to that. We're just going to add that on as a multiplier up here. Now we have a 5, 12, 13. So our answer is 26, radical 37. Well, and that's okay. Now, this, if you don't memorize it, it's not shorter for you. Okay. If you do memorize it, now I do understand also you have a day or so to memorize this. I would flashcard these in a heartbeat and memorize them. I'm telling you right now, you will see one of these on your test. And if you don't, I will be shocked. In 15 years, every single test that I've ever prepped for has had this on it. Okay. This is one of those cheat code things that you can do, you can prep for ahead of time and have it in your arsenal so that when you get there, easy. So the way that I solved this, and it took me a matter of, I'm probably 15 seconds, seriously. Okay. You're looking at this and you're going to say, okay, we've got 10 radical 37. So I'm just looking at the words right now. We've got 10 radical 37. We've got 24 radical 37. All right. We're looking at this both divisible by 2. So 2 radical 37 is kind of out. So we've got 5, 12, boom. I already know the other one has to be 13. So 13 times 2 is 26. That's my answer. That is as fast as that goes. And any multiple of these work. So you might see 6, 8, 10 instead of 3, 4, 5. You might see 10, 24, 26. That's a common one. This one is another common one that you might see. 14, 48, 50. Okay. Just be smart about how you're thinking about the questions. Okay. A lot of them are a lot easier than they appear, but we overthink them. Yeah. These are called Pythagorean triples. All right. Let's do another one. Okay, this one is short answer. So, you know, gotta know what you can get. You have to know what to do here. But there is a smart way to solve this one. What'd you get?
1,677.
Is 1677. Yep. Yeah. So now, timing wise, how long do you think that took you? Okay. If you think you can solve it quicker, I'll show you how to do that. What we're going to do, I'm actually going to show you two different ways. Okay, one is graphically, the other one is algebraically. Okay, we have a straight line here. The other one is here, x minus 2. Or not, x minus 2 plus 4 times y plus 7. Okay, and that one was equal to 442. Okay, here is our solution to the system of equations. We got x is 281.5 and our y is 33.625. Because it's asking you what is the value of 6 times x minus 2, 6 times x was 281.5. So 6 times x minus 2 is your 1677. That makes sense? Okay. I actually think it's easier to solve it using elimination. So if I just go like this and I add these together, we're going to get 2 of our x minus 2's. These are going to cancel. And we're going to have 559. Now, this is where you have to be smart. It is asking us what is the value of 6. So all we have to do is multiply both sides by 3. So 559 times 3 is 1677. This is by far the fastest way to solve this. But if you're not familiar with this and you're not comfortable with algebra, you can still do it graphically and still get to the answer. Okay, you just graph them, see where they intersect, take your x value, pop it in. That's just as easy. When I work this out, I try to see what can I do in my head first. My y's are immediately going to cancel out this way. I know I'm going to have 2 of those equal to the right side. So boom, I just have to take my right side and multiply by 3. That's going to give me 6. Okay. Lots of different ways to solve it. How did you do it?
I just did it logically. I figured if this minus this equals 117, then this is 117 more than this one. So I just did x plus 117 plus x equals 442.
Okay.
And then I just figured that this is 162.5, and then I added 117 to that.
Okay. You still got to it. Yeah. So lots of different ways. The reason I asked you is lots of different ways to solve it. You still got to the right answer. The correct way to solve it is the way that's going to get you the right answer. I'm never going to tell you that's wrong. Don't do it that way. That works for you, that's fine. Just make sure that it's the best way, the best way for you to solve it. So if that means algebra is just not your thing, go straight to Desmos. Don't even try. Okay, that's not worth your time. This one would be easy to do via elimination. Okay, so we've already hit a lot of our radical and rational stuff here. This is another one that is the same. Okay, we have to know how to apply the rules of exponents here. Or do you? I don't even, actually, maybe you don't. Let's go over to Desmos. Okay, instead of C, I'm just going to use X. We have 4, and I'm typing in, by the way, to get that exponent, I'm typing in that AB button there. Okay, so 4 raised to the X power, or 4 raised to the 8X power. Actually, yeah, go ahead, give this a shot. You can do it totally by hand. It's doable by hand, actually. I think it's actually easier by hand. See if you can solve this one. It is. Yep. So 2 different ways to solve it. I think going through this way is just fine. Okay, the cube root of 4 to the 7th. At the bottom here. Cube root of 4 to the 7th. Okay. This is the value that we're getting here. Normally, so on the SAT, what you call it, interface, I'm just on the Desmos website right now. It doesn't allow you to hover over that line. On the SAT interface, it does. It lets you put a dot on that line. So in this case, I mean, it says to round it to the 4th digit, so you can zoom in enough. Even if it doesn't allow you to click on it on the test for whatever reason, you can still get it. Okay, you just have to zoom in quite a bit. And I would say, oh, here we go again. See, 2916667. Anyway, but it would be just a little bit over to that. Okay, so 0.291, let me see, 0.2916 or 2917 would both be acceptable answers for this. You're only going to the 4th digit. So does that make sense for this? I would recommend solving it differently though, me personally. When you have the same bases, so we have 4 to the 8c equals 4 to the 7/3, your bases cancel, so you set the exponents equal to each other. Multiply both sides by the inverse 1/8 or divide by 8, doesn't matter how you say it or do it. So c is 7/24. I would rather work with fractions than decimals 100 times out of 10, me personally. So if I can avoid using your calculator, I will. But you still get the same answer both ways. That's why, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I've had kids that take calculus are like, oh, you can solve it by doing this and this. And I'm like, yeah, bro, but you don't need to. Like, nobody's giving you bonus points. You don't get a gold star because you know how to do this. You get it because you know how to answer it. And homeboy was answering them incorrectly. And I'm like, so it's not even a flex. I'm like, what are you even doing? But he was so proud of him. He's like, oh, you can solve it doing this. And like 3 minutes later, he's still working on it. And I'm like, are you done? Yeah, because he was trying to, oh, I can do it this way. Yeah, okay. I guess confidence got to get you somewhere, I guess. Okay, here is an example of a table. So, and remember, we're working backwards. So we're now out of the hardest type of questions and we're moving more into the medium type. The linear relationship P that the train can carry. Which equation represents the linear relationship between C and P? This one you got to be a little careful with because it's it can be a little tricky. Oh, actually, what am I even doing? I would just pop this into Desmos, honestly. Yeah, I mean, this is valuable to put it there. What'd you get? A. It is A. Okay. How did you solve it?
Well, I figured 55 times for passengers makes no sense. Cars.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just started plugging stuff.
Good. Yeah, that's how I recommend doing that. You either plug it in or you go to Desmos and do the linear regression. I will show you this because it is helpful. We have a table here, 3, 5, and 10. Would you guys call out the, oh, never mind, I can see it on here, 174, 284, and 559. Okay, remember you click the dots over here to the left, linear regression, it spits it right out to you, and then you just have to know that Y is P and 55 is C. So when you move, you have to manipulate this a little bit where you're moving it over. Okay, so you notice here that the one that the graph gave us, oh, come on, was Y equals 55x plus 9. This looks a little different than this, but it is the same. Okay, if we subtract 55c, I'll just go ahead and switch the variables now. We'll have negative 55c plus p equals 9. If you divide everything by negative 1, this is how they get that answer. But this is not super intuitive. I think the way that you solved it is better, where you plug it in and you see which ones give you the right answer. Okay, and then we'll be done here shortly. I just want to give you guys a little bit more time because I was stuck in that traffic. Did you get stuck in traffic or no? No.
I live like right down the road. I got caught up at the bank.
Oh, you're fine. No. Well, I was here like right at 2 because there is a power line. Somebody ran into a power pole and it was literally across 98. So traffic was completely stopped in both directions. So after I left my house at 125 or right around there, anyway, it normally takes me 10 minutes to get here. And so I was like, perfect, easy. Well, I hadn't moved for 10 minutes and I was like, uh-oh. I'm like, this is not good. So anyway, I go back road and there we go. Yeah, just wild. Okay. I do want to go over another 30, 60, 90 type of triangle type of question. So let me pop open Delta Math right now. Now, before we go into tomorrow, I mean, like I said, I've been with you guys all week. Is there anything specific that you want to work on tomorrow in the bigger class? Like, I'm not going to call you guys. I'm like, hey, you wanted to work on this. But it will be helpful for you guys if you want to tell me anything that you want to work on, because I'll make sure to do that tomorrow for you.
I'll just say a little more like step by step on those hard final questions.
Okay. Now, so is how I'm explaining it making sense, or do I need to go slower? Feel free. I mean, my feelings are not going to be hurt if you guys feel that way, but help me know how to help you best.
It makes sense to me.
Okay.
I'm good. I would like, do you have like a packet of just the hard ones or something?
I don't have just a packet of the hard ones. That's probably not a bad idea. I could probably do that. But by tomorrow, I don't know if I'd be able to whip that up. But what I can do is give you access to all of the math practice tests that I have access to, and you can just work out the last several on each of them. Yeah, I think that would probably be the best option. So here's one of these. This is a special right triangle that ends up being a 30, 60, 90. So if this one is equilateral, okay, I'm just going to try to divide this into 2 screens here, and then we'll be done after this particular problem until tomorrow. Okay. Just going to work this one out here at the end. All right. So if I sketch this, it's not going to be perfect, but it will be close enough. Okay. There's that here. That's supposed to be a 90, so we're just going to act like it is. Okay, this is equilateral. So even though they don't explicitly say it, they're telling you that each of the angles is 60. That's what equilateral means. So 60, 60, this whole thing is 60, which means that this little half over here is 30. Now, our model triangle for 30, 60, 90, you can view that on the reference sheet on the SAT, would look like this. Okay, so this is what the reference on the reference sheet, this is what it has on there, that bottom triangle. So all we have to do here is create a proportion to solve for that third side. So we have x over radical 10 equals x over 2x. Well, actually, let's do this. This is going to simplify first. This x and this x. On the right side, those are going to cancel, so we're going to have 1/2. It's going to be x over radical 10 equals 1/2. And then we can just multiply over. So radical 10 over 2 is our answer. So just a proportion. These are similar triangles, and all we're doing is creating a proportion between I call it the model triangle, our 30, 60, 90 standard triangle, and then the one that we are asked to find up here for the leg. That makes sense? Ish? Okay. So I will give you access to the hardest types. I want to add that in right now. And you can do as many or not as you want to. At the end of all of them, there should be answer keys as well. So let me make sure. Okay, I'm just gonna go in and click a bunch of these and you can, okay. Yeah, the answers, it's a separate file, but I am going to attach them for you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm giving you access to the first 4 of them, 5 of them, and all of the answers that go with it. So 4, 5, and then scoring. Okay, 2. Scoring. Okay, there we go. So you now have access to all of those. Yeah, I would recommend working, if you want hard, I would work back to front on module 2. Start module 2. That's going to be the hardest section from about the very last question to about late teens, 19-ish, somewhere around there. And then I would just work that out. So I gave you access to 5 of them. Work out as many as you want. The module 2 back, and then the subsequent answers are on a separate document in the portal that you can just pull them up and look at them. See if you got it right.
What portal is that?
This is the student portal. Let me see here. Yeah, I do have you on here. Make sure that you're logged in. Okay, yeah. So it says that you're logged in. You want me to reset your password?
Yeah, let's see.
Okay. So what you'll do when you go to my website here, so Beachside Tutoring, show you how to access it. You're going to click on the student portal login. And then now the link I just sent you in your email will get you in here. Yeah. So you'll be directed here, and then you'll log in and you'll see, I'll actually show you what it looks like from your end. Okay, so this is what you'll see when you log in. Right here on the right side, you'll see all of them. And I will input notes. I've input notes every day, but I'll input the notes from today, and then you'll see those populated as well. So you might have to scroll down a little bit to get to the resources. All right. Well, great job. It was good to see you guys. You guys did well. Tomorrow, 3 to 5.
Yeah.